Have you ever sat down and asked yourself these questions? What do I need to do to scale my business fast? How many people do I need to have in my team to scale my business fast? What kind of systems and processes do I need to have in place to be able to scale my business fast? Today, in this video, I want to talk to you about the top 5 mistakes that small business owners make when it comes to scaling their business. Now, I'm speaking from a place of experience. Some of you might know that I used to be an industrial engineer. And in industrial engineering, the major premise of industrial engineering is about saving time, energy, and resources by streamlining workflows and systems and processes, basically to get what I call a professional shortcut. And I do this in my business and my team. We get to help companies to streamline their processes and systems to increase efficiency, productivity. Of course, that's going to affect their revenue. And hopefully they'll have enough money so they can pay their people well and provide all the benefits they need to provide so they can attract and retain good employees. Now, that's a subject for another day. But today I want to talk to you about the top 5 mistakes that small business owners make when it comes to scaling their business. Earlier today, I had a group of entrepreneurs and business owners in our office, and we were doing a training that we call From Chaos to Control, how to systemize and optimize your business for rapid growth. And of course, it was an interesting discussion. I got to hear what their perspective is when it comes to scaling their business and what they're worried about, what they're working on. And what I've discovered over the years is that there are several mistakes and, to an extent, misconceptions that people have when it comes to scaling their business. Mistake number one is obviously not having standardized operational procedures, basically what we call the SOPs, standardized operating procedures. And not having that is more like deciding to drive probably 1,000 miles away and not having a plan. You don't know the best car to use. You don't know the map or the route that you're going to take. You don't have a GPS. And even potentially the address that you're going to, in this case, the destination is not even very clear. So when you have standardized processes in your company, it's more like giving yourself a compass or having a GPS, making it very easy for your people, if you have a team, or even for yourself, if you don't have a team, to know exactly what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it. So failing to have standardized operating procedures is a mistake number one. And I believe every single company, whether it's small, medium, large size company, they should have those processes. Mistake number two is over-reliance on manual processes. Now, I get it. If you started a business as a hobby or a passion, and your goal and potentially your passion is to help people in your neighborhood, in your town, in a small town, to provide employment, to provide resources and services, you might feel like you need to keep it very close to yourself. And what happens, most of the small business owners, again, so many people that I've met, they get to hold these processes so dear. So they get them from their head to a piece of paper. And sometimes the pieces of papers can only be found by the owner themselves. So they're relying on manual processes. Everything is handwritten. And then they kind of graduate to using a computer, a desktop or laptop, and they have everything in there. And then they might even take some of the things, to the cloud, but they are not willing to let go. They use a Google Drive or OneDrive or Dropbox, whichever cloud storage system you use to store your information. Now, that's still very manual because someone has to go in and type the name and find it. Hopefully, they'll remember the name of the process that you've written down. So over-reliance on manual processes is another big mistake, because today we are talking about 2024. The world has been moving so fast. The world has been going through a major shift, and we got to keep up with the times. Your clients and your customers are more impatient than ever before. They need almost instant solutions to their problems. They need almost instant answers to their questions. So you should be able to find those answers and have those solutions for them whenever they need them. And that's good for your brand. That's good for your business. That's good for you. So over-reliance on manual processes is another big mistake that business owners make. Number three is failure to delegate tasks and projects to other people. Now, again, going back to the mindset of a small business owner, and in this case, someone who starts the business and then they bring in one more person and two people, and now they have probably 50, 100 people. They are still considered a small business owner. So they feel that they are the most skilled person in that company and that organization. And that could be true to an extent, but they also feel that they're the ones who can do the best job for their clients. Now you can imagine all of us, you and me, small business owners, we have only 24 hours. And I don't believe anyone really works for 24 hours. So let's say you work, if you really push yourself, you work for 12, 14 hours in a day, which is still a lot. Even if you work those many hours, there's no way you'll be able to do everything in your company. You're not going to be able to serve your clients very well. And again, if you decide to do everything yourself, what are your people going to be doing all day? Now, what's likely to happen is that they're going to have their roles and responsibilities and the projects that they're in charge of. And since you have a hard time delegating tasks to them, most likely you're going to step on their toes. You're going to be around them trying to basically micromanage everything. And of course, talking about micromanagement, there are several reasons why business owners and leaders do that. And I highlighted that in my new book that has come out. I'm launching it here in 2 days. It's called Take the Leap, Mastering the Transition from Employee to Manager. Now, that's mostly for middle managers, but it can also apply to any leader out there. I highlight some of the reasons why people micromanage projects and tasks whenever they give them to their employees. And one of them is that they want to ensure that quality is maintained and enhanced as they these services to their customers, which is good. It's a good thing. But the second reason is insecurity. And it doesn't mean that they are insecure as a person. It just means that they are not confident enough that their people will be able to do the job the right way. They are insecure in the sense that they think the delivery of the results, whichever results that come out of what their team members do, if they are not what they expected, or at least what their customers and their clients expected, they feel that that's going to be a reflection on them. And to an extent it is. But when you're confident enough as a business owner, of course, you're going to drop the ball, make all kinds of mistakes, and then be able to fix that. So insecurity, if you have high level of insecurity as a professional, then you are likely to hold onto all these tasks and projects, and most likely you're going to micromanage. So failure to delegate tasks, failure to leverage other people's knowledge, experience, resources, and expertise is another big mistake that business owners make. Number 4 is ignoring customers' feedback. Now, when it comes to feedback, it's kind of a touchy subject. And I know, depending on where you live, if you live in the US like me, we are big on feedback. People really focus on Google reviews, which is one of the major platforms for customers to give you a review. There's Yelp and many other platforms, including Facebook. And also even LinkedIn has recommendations, in this case, for your personal profile. But when you think about it, your clients most likely, they are not going to tell you the truth when it comes to how they feel about your business, unless they are already mad and ticked off and they really want you to fix it, or they have already made up their minds that they're not going to do business with you. Because think about it this way. When was the last time you actually gave someone a genuine, honest feedback about how you feel about their services? Now, like you and me, we buy products. We engage people to provide services for our personal use and also in our businesses. And personally, I'm not shy. I don't have a problem telling people how I feel. But even before I do it, I have to think twice. I want to make sure that I say it the right way. I don't want to damage the relationship, because I believe all of us, we are wired to be good people. So most of the people out there will never tell you exactly how they feel about your services. Let's say you provide plumbing services or HVAC or accounting services, financial services. It doesn't matter what kind of services you provide. If you're not at the level that your client expects, most likely they're going to give you a second chance. They will assume probably you are having a bad day, or you just had one of those crazy days, and then you make the same mistake again. If you do it so many times, at some point, they will start doing what I call edging away, whereby they stop answering your phone calls. They stop showing up to meetings, or at least they skip meetings. And then they have all kinds of excuses. And at some point, if you're not very careful, they might even decide to go to someone else. And if you ever ask them, or if you ever meet with them and ask them, what is it that I did wrong? They are likely to glaze over that. And they're likely to just vaguely tell you what it was. Either my husband and I or my wife and I, we discussed about it. We decided to go a different route. We've been trying different things. I've been sick. Whatever that it is, they are likely not to tell you the truth. So as a business owner, you really want to get that genuine feedback from your clients. How about you pay attention and you teach your people, in this case, your team members, how to pay attention? If something changes, within your customer base, or someone that you're servicing, or someone that you are selling to, if they slow down on their ordering, or they're not showing up to meetings, they're not answering your phone calls, they're not following through on what you agree on, that's a signal that something is not right. Now, it doesn't have to be dramatically wrong, but it means something is changing. If you can slow down and pay attention and get to ask, I think that's the right time to know what's happening. What can I fix? And again, being intuitive enough. Take them to lunch or dinner if you live in the same city, or call them, get on a Zoom call with them or on a phone call and get to go like, hey, I like to improve my services. I want to make sure that you are satisfied and you're getting what you are paying for. Is there anything that's not working? Or what's working, what's not working? How can I improve on my services for you? Not one of those general feedback requests that we get. People say that your business is very important to us. Can you take 2 to 3 minutes to answer some questions for us? And then it turns out to be a 3-5 page kind of a survey. I don't take those, to be honest with you. I don't have time for that. And then the second reason, I don't think they are genuine. If you're really serious about getting feedback from your clients, you need to call them up, you need to send them an email, or at least get someone from your team to reach out to them. So there's a benefit of getting feedback from your clients. Number one, you'll be able to fix any problem that's there, which is good. You'll be able to improve on your services, which means the next client who comes along is going to get a higher level of service from you. And you want that for two reasons. Number one, you're going to be able to retain that client. And then you can also charge premium price for your services, which is good because that enhances your profitability. Then you also want to get feedback because you don't know everything. You have a team that you're working with. Whenever you get feedback, especially if it's about some things that are not working, that's an opportunity to go back and train your team. Because going back to the group of entrepreneurs that I met with today, one of the things we talked about is the 3 kinds of mindsets that every single entrepreneur and business owner needs to have for you to be able to scale your business effectively. Mindset number 1 is a growth mindset, which is the opposite of closed mindset. And growth mindset, it says that I want to become better. I want to be better tomorrow than I am today. I want my team to be better tomorrow than it is today. And that can only come as a result of professional development. Then the second mindset is a servant mindset. Now, I grew up in Africa and in Kenya specifically, and Kenya was colonized by the British. And we got the independence in 1963. The British went back and we were left with our country so we can build it. And I'm telling you this story because during the colonization, there was something called, having the master and the servant. So a lot of people used to work in their master's houses. They used to work for free. Basically, that's what it was. Now, when we talk about the servant mindset, it's not that kind of a servant. It's all about thinking about serving your customers first, serving your base, serving the marketplace first, leading with that servant at heart. So having a servant mindset is leading without necessarily thinking about the money. Of course, you're going to be paid. You don't work for free unless you are in the nonprofit world. But even in the nonprofit world, they want people to donate money. They want people to donate their time. So there's something attached to that. There's always a trade. In your case, you need to lead with the passion you have for your industry and for your business. Mindset number 3, which is my favorite, is the multiplier mindset. And this mindset demands for you to always want to multiply yourself. In this case, looking at the skills that you have and the experience that you have and the knowledge that you have, and ask yourself, who in my team can I coach, train, and guide, and basically transfer the knowledge and experience that I have to them, basically teaching them everything that I know so I can duplicate myself, and then teaching that person to teach others. And before you know it, the whole team will be able to do things exactly the same way you like them to do. That only comes from a multiplier mindset. And again, if you feel that you've been called to serve the marketplace, it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're a consultant and coach and speaker like me, or you do financial services, or you are in the insurance or mortgage industry, or you are in construction. It doesn't matter what you do. If you feel that you have a calling, then by all means, you want to multiply because you want to expand that calling. You want to make an impact in the world and change as many people's lives as possible. So again, a failure to get feedback from your clients, another mistake that we make. So the last mistake that we make is failure to develop our teams, failure to engage them in professional development, failure to train them. One of the things that I know is that it's almost impossible for you to grow your company, in this case, scaling and growing your company to whichever level that you want to take it. It's almost impossible for you to do that if you haven't developed yourself. It's almost impossible to develop your team if you haven't developed yourself. It's almost impossible for the company and the organization to grow and scale as fast as you need it to be if the team is not developed. So it starts with developing the owner, that is you, or the top leader, developing the team, then developing the company. The first time I heard about this concept, it was from one of my former mentors. His name is Christian, and he said it's impossible to grow the team if you haven't grown the leader. It's almost impossible to grow the company if you haven't grown the team. So you grow the leader, you grow the team, and then you grow the company in that order. And if you try to do it otherwise, basically backwards, or you try to start from the middle, most likely you're going to struggle. So how do you develop yourself? You read books, listen to podcasts, go to trainings, make sure that you become a master in your industry, whichever niche you are in. And that's the technical side. You develop yourself as a leader, leadership principles and concepts and practices. Learn how to communicate, how to express what you are expecting from your people. Learn to communicate your goals, the goals you have for the company, the mission that you're on, what you see for the company. You learn how to paint the picture for your team of where you see the company going. You can only do that if you develop yourself. And then you transfer that to your team. You develop them, you train them, new managers, supervisors, team leaders, the employees that are working with you. You train them on how to do their job. You train them on how to express themselves. There's a concept we teach when it comes to leadership development. And I've done this for, about 8 years now. And I'm talking about the leadership development. Many years ago, I was traveling quite a bit, doing management classes. And very, very consistently, people were saying that I really want my people to come to me, but they never come to me, even when they have a problem. I get to hear about all the problems I have when they are wanting to quit, or I hear from other people. And I'm a little confused because I really want them to come to me. They would say we have what we call the open door policy, but it seemed like the door was not that open. So what I realized was that even though these managers and leaders really wanted their people to come to them, they were lacking one thing. They didn't have the platform and the environment for their people to feel safe to come and talk about how they feel. Now, again, going back to the way we are wired as human beings, we like to build an image. We like to have a good reputation. We don't want to be known as the person who complains all the time or the person who always points the problems. We want to try as much as possible to be seen as strong, professional people. So what I noticed is that most of the employees and even the managers, they hoard their feeling. They don't feel free to express themselves. And what we started to teach these leaders on how to coach their people so they can do what we call complain professionally. And it's teaching them that you can come and express yourself to me. And we train these employees on how to go to their leader. And again, we call it complaining professionally, but basically it's expressing themselves, expressing how they feel, especially when they have any kind of complaints. And we demand two things. Number one, they just need to be professional and respectful. Professional in the sense that don't allow yourself to lose it. Don't call people names. Don't use curse words. And I don't think there's any company out there really that allows that, okay? And people have their own choices. I don't curse. You can do whatever that you want to do. But again, if you really want to build a good environment for the people to feel like they belong, then you need to get rid of all that, because cursing, it cannot be a standalone thing. It's an indication that someone is upset, or maybe they just have a bad behavior. And again, it's likely to spread throughout the team. So we demand that they be professional and then also respectful. Even when you are mad at someone, in this case, your boss or your colleague or a coworker, then you need to respect them, irrespective of what they have done or what they have not done. And you give people that respect. So if they can show up to their boss's office and complain professionally, so long as they are professional and respectful, most likely they are able to get the help they need. So failure to train your team, failure to develop your team is one of the mistakes that I see business owners making. So let's recap here. Top 5 mistakes that business owners make, especially when they are trying to scale their business. Number 1, they fail to have standardized operating procedures. Number 2, they rely heavily on manual processes, using a notebook, using a laptop or a computer, like everything is just manual. Number 3 is failure to delegate tasks too tight to their projects and the things that they love doing. Number 4 is failure to collect feedback from their customers especially when things start to slide down a little bit, really not paying attention. So that's a big mistake. And number 5 is failure to develop their team. So I hope this was helpful. And if you've been making these mistakes, either consciously or unconsciously, my hope is that you're going to rectify, you're going to take a step and make sure that you don't make these mistakes. Have a great day.